Sometimes relationships can seem helpless, complicated, or confusing. And at the end of the day, every woman wants to hear that she is loved and cared for. If you feel like he has fallen out of love with you, then don't worry, because we're going to be talking all about this today. Hi everyone, my name is Ieva Bereisaite. I am one of Greta's high-value women coaches. And today in this video, I'm going to be sharing 4 things that you can do to make him fall in love with you again. Don't forget to take the self-awareness test to find out if you're a woman of high value or low value, and you can find that test in the description section down below. Also, if you want to get your hands on a t-shirt or a hoodie like the one I'm wearing, then make sure to check out Greta's online store. She has a bunch of really cool hoodies and t-shirts up on there, and you can find her online store in the description section down below as well. The first thing that you can do is, if you're nagging or complaining, then stop doing that. So I totally get it that if you have a husband or a boyfriend and he sometimes does things that really do annoy you. It happens often and it is completely normal. Men annoy women to literally push their buttons. It's a type of test to see just how far they can go and how you're going to react to it. When this happens, it's very important that we women don't lose emotional control and that we don't throw a tantrum, yell, or shout. The best thing that we can do is to set a boundary instead of complaining or nagging or losing emotional control because of something that he did that you did not like. For example, if you're living with a guy and you are the one that cleans the house more than he does, and you've started noticing that he is becoming really messy, maybe for example, it's your husband that's been acting this way, right? And it's really getting on your nerves, and let's say there is a pile of dishes in the sink and he doesn't even blink an eye and thinks that you're just gonna do it, but you're annoyed by that and you don't want to do it, right? So what you shouldn't do is complain or nag. You never unload the dishwasher, you never help me out, and stuff like that. Whatever you do, don't go down that path. Instead, what you can do is set a boundary. For example, when he's in the kitchen or even in the other room, you can just say, I'd really appreciate it if you'd unload the dishwasher. Thanks. So he might throw you a weird smirk or roll his eyes, but he will end up doing it because you have not lost emotional control. It may turn into a little argument, or he may really throw you a look just to see if you're gonna explode, right? And don't. Just be emotionally in control of your feelings, and that's it. You've set a boundary, and if he starts losing emotional control because you set a boundary, he's going to be the loser in this situation, because the one who loses emotional control first shows their weaknesses first in a way. So by setting a boundary instead of complaining or nagging, as you can see, it's a completely different approach. And it is very high value, right? Setting boundaries is very high value. And losing emotional control, yelling, complaining is low value. And you're not going to be taken as seriously if you complain about something that he does not do. You will be much more respected and taken so much more seriously when you set a boundary like the one that I mentioned, and you do it neutrally. So if you catch yourself nagging or complaining because of things that he does or does not do around the house or in the relationship, and it turns into a fight and you can see that it's becoming a problem for you, start setting boundaries instead. And it's going to make a very big difference. The reason being is men need to respect women in order to really love them, right? And for men, respect and love really do go hand in hand. And by setting boundaries and having your emotions under control, it means that you respect yourself a lot, right? And you also respect him because you're not shouting or yelling at him. And that is something that actually not a lot of people do, but it should be the correct way of doing things. And it shows a lot of strength, right? And that is the attractiveness behind it. You know, most women really would complain or nag, and then that would turn into an argument. So to not make it turn into an argument, you set a boundary instead, and you see how he reacts, and you just stick to that boundary nicely, and you will see that he's gonna end up doing it. Setting boundaries really does make men fall in love again because it is associated with a lot of respect. The second thing that you can do is to spend time doing things that you love. It's very important not to neglect yourself and your needs in your relationship. Find a hobby that you like doing and start doing that. It will automatically make you more happy and it will bring you more balance and peace of mind into your life. And because of that peace of mind that you would have and that balance, you would automatically become more attractive because you would be more balanced and happier in life. Remember that when someone is happy on the inside, it radiates outwards. This is one of the key reasons why having a hobby is important. When you have a hobby, you get to know yourself better. You become more interesting for your own self. You discover yourself again, right? And that's exciting. And because it's exciting and new, it brings new emotions and new forms of happiness into your life, right? And you feel that on the inside. And when you're excited about something in life, or when you really do enjoy doing something, right, and you stick to it, that happiness that you have inside of you will radiate outwards. And that's the way it works. And your guy will, of course, then see, okay, she seems really happy, and it's not because of me. She's making herself happy. She's happy and she's not expecting me to spend time with her, or she's not complaining that I'm not spending enough time with her. She's happy by herself, doing her own thing, and that is sexy. That's attractive. That's something that men find intriguing, right? Because it shows a form of independence in a high value way. That independence that I am capable of making myself happy in my life, and you, of course, making me happy too is an additional bonus in my life, but I am capable of making myself happy even without you. And that's not something that a lot of women have, but men pick up on this extremely, because men, when they feel like their women are not happy, they might think, okay, her not being happy is now my problem too, right? Now I have to make her happy. But if you are responsible for your own happiness, right, which you are, and you really take action towards that, and you do things for yourself that make you happy, your husband and boyfriend will pick up on it. This also works very positively, for example, when you guys have dinner together and you're talking about your day, or maybe you're on a date and you're just exchanging experiences and he asks you, you know, what have you been up to, or what's new with you, or anything like that. And you can tell him about your hobby, you know, and that it's making you really happy and you enjoy doing it, or that you're trying out new things because you want to get to know yourself better, and yeah, you find it really cool. And when you're going to be talking about it, you're going to be radiating, you're going to be happy. Maybe you're going to tell him of experiences that you've made that you think are really cool, and he's going to see that drive in you. He's going to see that glow in you, and that's very attractive, and it inspires him as well to potentially do the same thing. And I think this is one of the really big reasons as well why having some form of hobby or some form of balance just for yourself should not be overlooked, because it benefits your relationship dramatically, and it benefits your own life hugely as well, and your well-being. This tip, I think, is especially important for women who maybe are already married, live together, and maybe your guy is the one working and bringing the money in, and you're at home, or, you know, taking care of a child. For example, you guys have a child and you're taking care of the child, and he's the one bringing the finance part into the relationship, which is perfectly fine. I think it's extremely important there for women who find themselves in this type of situation, really living together, right? And having, you know, a husband or a really serious partner. I think it's really important for women in this situation, especially, to have a hobby for the reasons that I mentioned, right? And I see so many women who do not have this, and there's a part in their lives that feels a little bit empty, or maybe that there's just something missing, you know, and then you look for happiness in the man, whereas he's the additional happiness, right? You have your own happiness and your own hobby, for example, and hobbies are very, very underestimated. The amount of power and beauty that a hobby holds that you really like is wonderful, especially for women who are naturally very creative, very feminine, you know, and just think about the things that you could maybe start doing just for yourself, something that you would be happy doing. Maybe it's pottery, maybe it's doing dance classes, maybe it's writing, painting, whatever it might be. Find something for yourself where you would be like, oh, I think that's really cool. I'd love to try it. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Greta's YouTube channel down below and hit the bell button to be notified whenever she uploads a brand new video. The third thing that you can do is to let him initiate. I think it's normal sometimes to forget that we women are naturally not the pursuers and not the initiators in a relationship. So don't be too hard on yourself if you do forget this. It is very important to be on the receiving end of the relationship as a woman. And you might be asking yourself, well, Ieva, does it really mean all the time? And honestly, it really more or less does. Let him take that role of being the initiator if you have been the initiator most of the time. Give him that role, even if it may seem odd at first. For example, this is something that not a lot of women think of. When you, for example, are driving with your guy and he makes a wrong turn, or maybe he gets lost whilst driving, and you offer him advice without him asking you. To a man, if you offer him help or advice without him actually asking you, it means that you do not trust him. And this, for us women, is completely difficult to understand because we think exactly the opposite. We think, oh, I care for her so much, so I'm going to offer her help, or I'm going to offer him help because I care about him. And because men are so different to women, they actually understand this kind gesture from the woman's part as something not very good. This is why very often we see in movies or even real life when a woman and man is driving and the guy drives a bit faster, or he makes a wrong turn, or he just does something while he's driving and the woman doesn't like it, or she sees that he made a mistake, she would nag or complain about it, or she would just really point it out to him. And men get frustrated by this, right? And they react to that because they feel like they are not being trusted. This is why a lot of couples get into arguments whilst driving. Instead, be on the receiving end when it comes down to this. For example, when your guy is driving and you see that he has just gotten lost, right? Don't give him advice or help in case he really does ask. So don't initiate help, right? Wait for him to ask you for help, right? And when he does, then do help him. And this is also what I mean by being on the receiving end. Men and women are very, very different. They think differently, they speak differently, they understand certain gestures differently. And this needs to be reminded of, right? If you would understand something a specific way, it sure does not mean that he is going to understand it that same way. This is why when you are on the receiving end and react when especially men ask you for something or need help in some way, that you then help. Because if you would automatically from your side offer help or complain or say, no, that's not how you do it, they will get extremely frustrated because it's as if you underestimate his skills and you don't trust that he is able to finish the task correctly. And this really hits a guy's ego really hard. This is one of the reasons why we should be on the receiving end of things. The fourth thing that you can do is to be kind and friendly with him, but if he does cross the line, then set a boundary. As I mentioned, nagging and complaining won't get us anywhere, but setting a boundary will. Generally, not just with your guys should we act kindly and respectfully, but with everyone in general, outside of us, and of course, including ourselves as well. If he, for any reason, is rude or disrespectful, you can just tell him that you do not appreciate his tone of voice. It's not nice what he said, and you'd appreciate it if he wouldn't say that. You can tell him you don't appreciate him talking to you this way and that it's not okay. That is literally setting a boundary. And as you can see, a boundary is not friendly, it's not mean, it's completely neutral. This will nicely, without losing any emotional control, simply put him back in his place and remind him that you should be respected and treated well. Men like knowing what they are not allowed to do. A woman who has self-respect will not have any problem telling the guy when he has actually crossed the line. And as I mentioned, love and respect really do go hand in hand for men. They start loving you more and more the more respect they have for you. Respect is gained when you do not let him cross the line with you. You basically set a boundary, you leave it, and you move on with your day. Why this is so appreciated by men is because they want to know where boundaries are when it comes down to the woman. And this is not taught in schools, it's not taught in workplaces how to set a boundary, but it is extremely crucial in all aspects of life. And you gain respect from others, you end up respecting others more, and you have more self-respect as well. Even if you are fully new to boundaries and don't know how to set them yet, don't be afraid to do so. As I mentioned in this video, even by starting to say, I don't appreciate you saying that is already a boundary, or I'd appreciate if you unloaded the dishwasher. Thank you. That's already a boundary. And you can always use the term I'd appreciate because it works for men very well. They react to this word because appreciation is for men something that is very important. If you like this video and you found it informative and it helped you, then let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Also comment down below what tip you like the most and what you're going to be implementing in your relationship from now on. Join Greta's free High Value Women's School to learn how to bring out the best in your man. If you're not part of that free Facebook group yet, then make sure you join. You can find it in the description section down below. And if you want to know how to stay attractive via text, or what games men play on women, or perhaps you have a hobby that you would want to turn into an online business, then Greta has all of these videos and more up for sale on her website at gretabereisaite.com. You can find Greta's website in the description section below as well. Also, Greta just launched her High Value Women course, where she teaches women how to act high value and everything you need to know from A to Z. It's made up of 5 modules and has 2 huge bonus modules. I really suggest taking a look at the course if you want to learn how to be a high value woman, what differences there are between men and women, how to set boundaries, how to stay at challenge, and so much more. And you can find all of the info to this amazing course in the description section down below. And for one-on-one coaching with me, Greta, or any other member of Greta's team, of course you will find all the info to that in the description section down below on Greta's website too. If you don't follow Greta on her Instagram, make sure you have a look. Her Instagram is Ladies Relationship Coach. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this video for you. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Bye.